episode 287 of Global from Asia, expanding globally, hacks and insights from all these different marketplaces. Rock your 2020.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight-up, actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
So I got in trouble by my wife. We're freezing cold here in Shenyang, China, northeast China, or Dongbei, or Beidong, literal translation, east north of China. And hope everybody had an amazing holidays. It is getting into January, or it is January already, and this is the first podcast of the year. So I got in trouble by my wife. I took the kids, Miles and Maggie, to the local mall here. We had to bundle up. It's like across the street, literally. But, there's the gate, and then you cross the road, and you got to go inside the mall, and there's like 4 doorways of like different levels of entry to keep you warm. So it keeps going. Like you open one gate, and then there's sliding doors, and then there's these plastic heavy things and the cloth heavy things. Hard to explain. So I took the kids there. We all bundled up, or Wendy and the aunts and uncles all bundled them up. When it was just me and the kids coming back, Maggie didn't want to put her like third pair of pants on. These like kind of like ski pants, puffy ski pants. So I stuck it in my jacket, and we walked back home. We had the hoodies and the coats and the sweaters and the gloves, but she didn't have her third set of pants on. So I get back to the one of our houses, family houses here in Shenyang, and my wife's like, "Where's her pants? Where's her pants?" I'm like, she didn't want to wear them. We just literally can see the mall across the street. I'm like, it's like just there. She's like, she's gonna get sick and she's gonna catch a cold now. And I'm like, all right, anyway, part of life here. Anyways, I thought I'd put a little bit of a fun story. Also, we are locking in the dates for the Cross-Border Summit 5th Annual 2020, going way deep into November. It's going to be outside of China's time in Chiang Mai, Thailand, November 19th to 20th. Save the dates. If you're on our email list, you'll get more updates, and if you're our member, GFA VIP, you'll get even more updates. But save the date for now. We'll let you know once things get more confirmed, but it'll be after the trade shows and all that stuff. And we're getting things lined up now with amazing speakers and sponsors. If you're interested or want to get on our waiting list, crossbordersummit.com/Thailand. All right. So this week's show is a cool one. Actually, speaking of the summit, she was a speaker there, Yana. She's an amazing woman, an entrepreneur, business owner, and world traveler that's working with marketplaces and Amazon all around the world in different languages. And we kind of had this around the world discussion talking about some of the ins and outs, what she's seen with her clients and working, and hopefully you can learn from this, and hopefully maybe you can even open a new marketplace, or at least make steps towards it. It's a new decade, not just a new year, it's a new decade, 2020. So let's tune in, episode 287. Do you need content for your online business? We are partners at contentinvestments.com. It's an agency to help you write content, blogs, podcasts, and other types of interactive content for your business, as we all need. It's almost like cash currency. Check it out at www.contentinvestments.com. Some of our listeners are enjoying it now. All right, thank you everybody tuning in on our Global from Asia podcast. We're doing this in December, but I think this will be our first one for 2020, and I'm excited for that. We have with us Jana Krekic from YLT Translations. Thanks so much for coming on, Yana.
Hey, Michael. Thank you so much for having me today. Hey, guys. Hope you're doing great in the New Year's. It's a fresh start, and I think everybody loves January as a moment to, get into their future endeavors and get ready to launch new products and get ready to do new things in their life.
Exactly. It's a fresh start. I guess people go to the gym probably after all the food from December, but they also should maybe do some listening to this show, and excited. I mean, you also shared at the Cross Border Summit, and you were hanging out in China, also in Hong Kong. We spent a lot of time hanging out, and it was nice. And it's a pleasure to have you on today. There's so much, especially American sellers, but people all around the world. Actually, for our show, people say they like Global from Asia a lot because it's not U.S. centric. So I think today's content will be helpful for them. You help with, of course, translation, localization, and do you want to give us a little bit of your background before we get into the topic?
Sure. So I've been in e-commerce for a long time. I was working in one of the biggest e-commerce in Denmark for about 8 years. I was a CEO of the company, and they were selling about 100,000 products on Amazon. And this was about 10 years ago, and when I first got interested in Amazon, and I was leading the whole team, and basically we tried so many different things. And then I decided to quit my job about 3 years ago. And I'm a translator myself. I studied Norwegian, Danish, and German at university. And I've always wanted to start my own thing. And I decided that the translation agency was definitely something I have a lot of passion for. And I also loved e-commerce. So I first started doing the e-commerce translations. And then after a year, I decided to niche down to Amazon, because I saw that, a lot of people struggle with translating the listings the right way with the keyword research. They don't know what it means. They just Google Translate everything. And I just saw the potential in actually, helping people increase their profit. And it doesn't have to be such a nightmare everybody thinks it is. And now today, we have 42 team members, full-time team members, and we're just expanding to all other European markets that are going to open soon. Yeah. So we do basically everything when it comes to all European markets, Japanese and Mexican market.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And one little tidbit that you told me before that I think listeners might be first time hearing is the Dutch market.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an information that we got that the Dutch market, so Amazon is going to enter the Dutch market in January 2020, so should be any time now. And ever since November, we've been getting a lot of inquiries from sellers saying that they want to start with listings, they want to start with products for the Dutch market. That was beginning of November, and I think so far we've done about 80, 90 ASINs. But people really want to translate all of their products. They just want to go let's do it. Let's do the Dutch market. And I was honestly really surprised because, I'm pretty sure people know about Bol, on the Dutch market, which is the biggest marketplace over there. Mm-hmm. But there's still a lot of people, obviously, that are interested in selling on Amazon, that market.
Yeah, we were chatting. I know some Dutch that they were kind of almost chuckling a little bit at some events that I've talked to, and they're like, oh, we're safe in Netherlands, right. Or for some reason Amazon's not in the Netherlands yet, but I guess
nobody's safe.
Nobody is safe from Amazon. So basically that's huge news. And then Dutch is a very interesting language. I have Dutch friends. I met a bunch in China, and it's almost, I always hear an English word pop out of a sentence when they're talking, and I'm like, huh?
I know, right? Sometimes it's did you just, say something in English?
Yeah.
The only problem for the Dutch market, it's also for the Japanese market, you don't unfortunately have any tools that provide keyword research. So for the time being, maybe they will introduce Dutch language on different tools. But for the time being, you cannot do any decent keyword research. You can just see what your competitors are doing, but they also don't have any keyword research done for Amazon. The only thing you can basically do is go to, Keyword Planner. That's the closest you get to doing keyword research, and then you're just gonna hope to find something which could be used for your product. So you have to do a lot of things manually.
Well, I guess what I usually say is if it's easy, everybody's doing it. Or, obviously the earlier into a new market, probably the better. So I wonder, though, maybe it's a good discussion. How do you decide? How do you tell a seller to just? I'm sure you talk to your clients and people in the game, and how do you tell them to go to Netherlands or Germany, or how should they know which markets to even go into?
Well, basically, a lot of people just think, do you think this is a good idea? And then, and when talking about Europe, if you're, let's say, a UK seller or a US seller, you want to go to sell in European markets, you should always definitely start with the German market because it's the biggest market of them all. And usually the products which are best sellers in the US market, the UK, they work fine also on the German market. And also this German market is it's like a 5-star market because all of the other countries which don't have Amazon established there, they are transferred and people buy from the German Amazon. So actually you get a lot of sellers all from the whole Europe buying from the German Amazon, and there are a lot of countries that don't have their own Amazon marketplace. So you can get a lot of attention, and it's not necessarily that your competitors are going to be as strong as on your home market. We've had people who were maybe the first or the second to sell some product. We've just recently done some. There's a hint, energy bars, but they were kind of like for recovery and they were not like regular energy bars. And you could not find that on many markets like in Europe. While as in the US, they were, drowning in their competitors' rage, literally. So, so that's a really good option if you want to go to pan-European. If you want to do that, you should just definitely opt for the German market first. And also another tip, like the German market really loves kids products. And I'm talking about glitter, face paint, crayons, everything for toddlers, which could be used to draw or to, make some stuff like DIY kits and stuff like that. That works insanely well on the German market. And when, sometimes you just have to wait for a long time until you get some results. With a lot of these products, you can just get like really good increase in sales after just, a couple of weeks. I've just recently talked to one of our clients, and he was selling products on Japanese market, and usually things over there, they just go super, super slow, and you have to wait for like 3 or 4, even 6 months before something even happens. Because I don't know, this is just how the market is over there, I guess.
All right. I'm thinking of our friend Ivan. He's a Singaporean in Chiang Mai. I hang out with him at our meetups. I think he's saying to me, and he's saying at some of our little round tables, that he's tired of the U.S. It's so difficult. He's moving to Japan. Well, not physically,
exactly.
but
and yeah, we actually did a product for him in Japan. And a really good thing is that PPC clicks and your cost is going to be at least 50% less than on the US market. So you could be saving a serious amount of money just by doing this the same way you're doing elsewhere.
Okay. Interesting. And Mexico is another one we were actually just chatting about, and you just mentioned Mexico, so it's kind of cool to get a little bit of a taste of all these different markets. But there's some restrictions, right, going into Mexico, from what I understood?
Yeah, but you know what the thing is that I've just recently also found out about that. Like when you go to I think it's in beta version, or maybe they've just released it now. When you go like on the US listing, for instance, the US seller, there's going to be like a drop down menu where you can change EBC into different languages. So you don't have to necessarily make a listing in like Spanish Mexican or something similar. And Mexicans also, of course, they can also order from the US Amazon. And then depending on where they are, sitting or based, like the IP address, they can get to see the EBC or A+ content. They can get to see it in Spanish Mexican. So you don't have to do anything extra apart from just translate your A+ content, and it's going to switch between languages. Which was not available before.
Yeah, and I guess obviously you didn't mention Australia, but then there's Australia. Of course, I guess there's no translation because that's English. Or is there any differences you think?
I mean, you know what? Like honestly, we haven't done anything for Australia. And I've talked to some people, and I don't know, like I haven't met anyone who was like dying to go to the Australian market. I don't think it's. I think there are like a lot of other marketplaces over there that might be interesting, but in terms of expansion, like from the US to UK, like nobody has ever done it. And also, it's English, but there's also some sort of like localization, like different words. Also, there are no keyword tools for Australian Amazon. While as you can have UK and US, two different markets, English language, but they might have like different keywords. Like we were doing this like funny pack. So it was like funny pack, like in the UK, where like quite a like those keywords were better in search volume than those same ones. And the US market was like something else. So I think there are a lot of differences when it comes to keywords and the way people are using their, the terms for certain stuff in Australia and compared to UK. And like, I don't know, if you would talk to someone from South Africa, it would be completely something completely else, right?
Okay. And then how about Middle East or the UAE? That's English though, right? I mean, I've heard people doing well there. I have no experience there. I'm kind of just covering all the different markets I can think of. But...
Yeah, right. So yeah, the UAE, we've done some inquiries, but people wanted to have it done in Arabic, like not in English. But I've seen a lot of people just doing it in English and just like leaving it like as it is. So yeah, I also heard people were doing well. While as in Japan, everybody wants to do it in Japanese. Japanese is a really interesting language because apart from like having words that you have in Japanese, you can have like English words, but they are spelled in Japanese. Like the word beer, they would say biru. Right, so that's kind of English version of the Japanese version of an English word, and they would use that, and then they would use their Japanese word for beer, which is I don't know what, but and then when it comes to keywords, you can have like these English written words in Japanese, and then Japanese words, so you just have to think of all of the possible combinations. But I've seen more English listings definitely on the Middle East Amazon than on the Japanese Amazon.
Okay. So people are maybe a little bit overwhelmed hearing we just kind of went all around the world. And would that be something you could even help people with? I mean, I'm still not sure how people should decide, even myself. I think the complexity, I guess they could look at the marketplace there, the supply, demand, keyword research you're mentioning.
Well, I just think first, like, it's really important to see, like, first you have to do, of course, the market research. You have to see, like, if your product might be a good fit, like if the sports equipment is going to do well, like in Germany, for instance, or UK, or whenever you want to start. I think that's the essential. And then you see, like how many competitors you have, what's your PPC click rate. I mean, that's also like something you have to consider because, if the cost is like more expensive here than like in the US or your home market, then, why would you bother, like spending so much money? Plus it's like in other language. I just really think it's important to do the little bit of the research. It will be really cool if you find something that is not that competitive. I mean, if your product is maybe not that competitive, like these like protein bars I was talking about, and then you just decide to do it because, you can see that all sorts of other protein bars or energy bars are doing good. So, probably your product would also do well as well, You just have to pay attention, like when you're going to international markets, that maybe if something is legal in the US, it's not legal in the German market. And we've had one of the clients, he was selling a shampoo, and this shampoo had like some like ingredient list on the UK, but it was on the German market, one of these ingredients were considered as a prescription drug, and the product got banned. So you also have to pay attention to that. And I know a lot of people, they want to get into supplements, and food and stuff like that, and that can be very, very, very tricky. So what you want to do is, like, before even starting, you just want to see if like all the ingredients are allowed to be sold on that market, because you don't want to get like initial push from Amazon and then only to find out that your product is illegal, basically, to be sold like that in German market.
Got it, got it. That's a good point too. And then I guess if you found out after, I guess you'd have to just pull out of the market that product, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Or you just, I don't know. I mean, if you can maybe like remove that ingredient, or like German market is a little bit tricky because they really want to know what they're buying. They really want to know. They want to have like clearly written descriptions. Everything should be like tell me what it is, like black and white, literally. And because also like on German market, our businesses also work like that. In Germany, it's pretty, much everything is clear, straightforward, and don't fool me around, like, and don't push me into buying this product. Don't have all these like sales pitches in your listings. And the most important thing is, what reflects all business culture in Germany is that Amazon Germany is actually the marketplace which gives the most refunds. Because if the buyer says like, I want a refund, I'm not happy with this, they're like, fine, here's a refund. And it works very easily because it's like, okay, you don't want it, fine, we'll refund the money. So there's no like, oh, but can you please, blah, it's just like, yeah, fine, we'll refund the money. So they do a lot of refunds, which is quite interesting.
Interesting insights. And then this Dutch market, I know. What should somebody do? So would that be more positioned for somebody already in the European market? I mean, I'm an ignorant American. Some people say I'm almost too hard on myself. I kind of lump Europe, as a whole. But I know there's obviously, especially with this whole Brexit. Honestly, I haven't been following it. I don't know even where it's at right now.
I don't know. It's gonna be like I think they're like in 10 days or so. I forgot the date, but they have to made up their mind what's gonna happen. So yeah, a lot of people are like But the thing is, like, whatever happens with Brexit now, all of the big companies, they kind of already, relocated or found some other, like holes in the system to kind of stay there or not stay there. So I think it's now it's all about, smaller businesses who are going to get affected, because I think that all the big companies already, thought ahead and just going to sort their things out.
That's always a bummer. It seems like even in the U.S. with the trade war, the small ones get hit the hardest. But
yeah, fortunately, yeah.
So like going back to the Dutch market, that would be I guess through Germany, right? That's obviously not.
Yeah.
Okay, so then somebody should have an account there already. I mean, do you think, obviously, if you're going into the European market, right? How many languages do you suggest somebody to start with, or how many languages are there even?
Well, when you enter the European market, first to answer about the Dutch market, usually like all the requests we got were from the German clients, and they want to go to the Dutch market, like not even the UK, but Germans. They really wanted to get to the Dutch market. And so I think that, for the Dutch market to use it, I think you should be definitely a European seller, not like an US, it's going to be really weird that somebody from the US wants to go to the Dutch market. It's kind of, doesn't sound much sense to that. Usually like there's like EU5, and then they said like, that Amazon is also going to start the Switzerland, Belgium, it's going to be like EU6. Or EU7, like at the beginning of the year. So they're going to do Swiss, Belgium, and I think it's going to be one more country. I forgot what country was that going to be, but they're going to expand to 2 or 3 more markets also pretty soon. So it's going to be very busy in Europe, I think, next year, since Amazon is going to do the pan-European, is going to expand to additional countries. But the biggest markets are definitely, the UK, Germany, France, Spain, and Italy. There's also Turkish market, but I mean, I honestly don't know anyone who's selling on the Turkish market. Do you know anyone?
No, no, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, but
Even
there is an actual Turkish market. Yeah. So yeah, that's over there. But usually when people do go to Europe, they do the pan-European thing because it's much easier to go than later to all other countries once you're registered for the pan-European system. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they complain about VAT process, which can take forever. And you really want to hire an agency that knows what they're doing or somebody to help you out with that, because you'll be stuck in like 2 years of just like papers you don't understand and just going back and forth forever. And the thing for the VAT is that you have to register, apart from these countries that are part of pan-European system, you also have to register in, for instance, in Czech, so Czech Republic, like that's like one country, and there's also one more country you have to register in, which is outside of the pan-European deal, which is something that people don't know. And I don't also fully understand why you have to register for VAT in some other countries like Czech Republic. That's pretty unclear to me as well. Mm-hmm. But that's just how it all works. So it's basically, if you think you're gonna register in 4 countries for the pan-European, you have to actually register in 7. So that's why it takes such a long time. But if you hire some like tax agency that can help you with, you can get it all done in like 6 or 7 months time.
Okay, great info. So let's talk about, there's of course, obviously there's a first, there's, I guess, what you just said, like getting your taxes and your VAT set up. And then, of course, there's translation or localization, right? Do you want to kind of give us some common mistakes clients or people you work with make about localization requirements, or something that they might not know? I always
like to compare like the US and the German market, because German market is, as I said, like everybody wants to start on the German market when talking about Europe, because it's the biggest market. And the thing is that a lot of people, they really don't realize how that market works. Like what I mentioned for the product, like you should do the, market research to see if your product is going to be a good fit. You have to do the market research about, the audience and people and what they like and what's their style. And a lot of people just don't seem to pay enough attention to that. And they just gonna have their listings translated from the US, like those sales pitch, like this, buy this adorable, cuddly, furry friend, or, like pamper yourself in luxury and stuff like that. And they push people into buying, like buy today and stuff like that. And if you just take this text, like the US text, and just translate it to German, it would not make any sense to the buyers over there. It's not going to be appealing for them to buy a product. It's going to just have the opposite effect, because they'll be just like, I don't want you to tell me that your product is amazing. I will be the judge of that, and they're like, I don't want to be pushed into buying stuff. Like, I want to decide this for myself. And by the way, where's your ingredients list? And like, I don't see this very transparently what you're talking about. So they really want some facts. They don't want so much like emotional outbursts in those listings. They just want to understand what they're buying and how to use it, if it's safe for their kids, and some very other important information. So same things that worked on US would, probably not work for all products on the German market. For some products, like, I don't know, if you're selling plushy toys, of course you have to be, all cute and, but also until up to a certain extent, not in the same way you're doing it on the US market, because this kind of doesn't seem appealing to the German customers to just write and have listings in that way. And also a lot of people just put a really, really long bullet on the German market, because they're like, I just want to, use all the 499 characters. But, you should not write a novel in the bullet. Like 2 or 3 sentences per bullet are absolutely fine. You just have to make a good point about your product and what it's all about. And you just have to understand the style and the localization are everything. So you can have a really good translation from US to German, but it's a literal translation. But you have to modify the text and the listings in a lot of ways in order to get the best out of it. of course, if you have a good product, it's gonna sell anyway, anyhow. Like if you're have a poorly written listing, it's still gonna sell, right? But just imagine how much better you can do if you have something localized for that market and optimized with the right keywords. A lot of people ask me, like, okay, so like if we do the listings, how many more sales am I gonna get, or like what's gonna be my profit increase? I mean, it's not all about, of course, listings. I think it can definitely help, but you also have to do so many other things, well, like PPC, photography, A+ content, your brand, storytelling, like so many different aspects that you have to pay attention to. But I would say that the one thing that people oversee the most is this thing, which is called localization, to make it sellable and to make it, to adjust it so that people in Italy or Japan or somewhere else think that you are actually, that it's a good product for them, because you can kind of, you can get in their head, they'll be like, this is how they think, so this is what I'm going to serve. So actually tell them something which they're used to hearing on their own market, and which something, for instance, Americans have probably, I don't know, never heard of in their life. But you just have to pay close attention to that. And that's why, it's always good, like if you get listings, or sorry, if you get like maybe even machine translation or somebody from Fiverr, if you have somebody in that country, like maybe it's your aunt or somebody's married to somebody, blah, blah, just have them read it. And if they say like, well, this doesn't make much sense because we don't use this like metaphor for this like they do here, that's also like a good input. And you don't have to pay money for that or anything. It's just important for this person who lives in the country to say if it feels like it's like German or French or Spanish, or it feels like it's something weird in the text going on.
Okay. Yeah, localization is something for sure people need to understand, and obviously can't make that mistake Google Translate and throw. I have to admit something, Yana, it's funny. I did my first e-commerce business was bar supplies, and I did the UK and Europe. Well, UK is easier. I had .co.uk and eBay, and I also did EU. I bought an EU domain of this brand, and I bought .co.uk, and I just Google translated to German, and
right.
It even got sales. This is like 2010 or so, 11, and
yeah.
But the hard part is, the next question is the customer service. That was
right, yeah. How are you gonna do that?
That was really nuts.
Yeah.
I was Google translating and then Google translating back to them. It was kind of insane.
I know, it's a nightmare. And when you kind of, Google Translate, because if you do like English to German and then you kind of German to English and then to the third language, it's like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And I mean, like Google Translate has come a long way when people use it like 10 years ago and now, but it still doesn't understand the point of the context. So, it can make perfect sense when you translate like one word or maybe a few words, but if you insert like a paragraph about, I don't know what, it doesn't necessarily make sense, yeah, it's, I mean, of course, sometimes you have to use the Google Translate. And of course, as I said, the product, it will sell because maybe it's a good product, and maybe you just have that kind of main description of your product is good because it was using Google Translate, But just imagine if you had keywords and if your text actually made more sense, it could just make things better, definitely.
Okay, and then so how do you recommend people to do the customer service? I mean, work with your agency does the ongoing too, or is that separate, or is that somebody else, or is that somebody they should hire internally?
Yeah, well, a lot of people go to Amazon, and like whatever it's free and it's coming from Amazon, it's kind of a little bit to be suspicious about, and it actually ends up costing you more money because nothing from Amazon, which is like a free thing, it was a good service according to my opinion and other people I talked to. So Amazon offers that as well, but it's all like machine translation. I mean, you can as well do like what you did, like Google Translate everything and just kind of, do it the way you want to do it. The thing for the customer service, yeah, we offer customer service as well. The thing is, like, we also use like keywords also in our answers because they're all indexed. And if you want it done like in slang and like more formally, depending on your product, we also offer that. And it's a really cool service because you do it like you send us like a question and you ask us like how should we do it, and we do it literally in 3 or 4 hours tops. So it can be actually, it can be replied to the customer in their own time zone and their, in real time. And, like Amazon always says, like, customer service is like the most important thing ever. And I also think like working like in e-commerce and stuff, I think this is what buyers and clients really appreciate the most, when you get like a really fast response. And I just think, when I answer my emails to clients and like, they heard from me like the same day, they'll be like, wow, thank you so much for responding. People are just not used to getting responses like so quickly, like within a day or two. Because they usually are, you're used to like, you send an email to somebody and you're like, okay, like 6 days later, I might get an answer from this. I mean, this is what, what I've been going through with every sort of service I've been using. But you don't have to hire like a professional service to answer customer service, especially if you don't have a lot of questions. I mean, it's cool if you have like a pan-European accounts and then you have a lot of questions, because we have clients that would get like hundreds of questions for all 4 European countries, and we have a flat fee. So basically you pay once for the whole month, and you can send us as many questions as you have. But if you have just like a few questions, maybe people are asking like, what's your address and stuff like that, you can totally hire somebody on Fiverr to help you answer those questions if you don't have a lot of questions. If you do, then it's much easier and more convenient to hire somebody that can help you with everything, other than just like always contacting the Fiverr or Upwork translator to help you out with what did the customer say or what should we answer and stuff like that. So I don't think if you're small or just beginning, I don't think you should overspend on those things. I would always say that it's good to hire like a regular translator, because at least you're going to have like a decent response in this language. And I think customers will appreciate that it's not like Google Translator or something like that.
Okay, cool. So if you don't mind, I know it's not your service, but the Fiverr hack. So if I only get a few questions, I could go there, pay somebody, give them the question, they give me the answer, like that? Like, or is it like ongoing? I have no idea. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think I used Fiverr for like for graphic design work and stuff like that in the past. And I think you can just hire somebody per project, and then you can say, okay, here's like $10 for this, and then you just tell them like, look, here I have a question, or maybe you can just write, I need an ongoing project, but I think you can pay per hour and you can pay per project. So this is what you can, if you have like really super simple questions and answers and you don't have that many questions, and if it's not, so it's not a big of a hassle, because I think that people just gonna go crazy when they're like, oh, I have to go to the freelancer for one thing and then do the second one for this thing. Nobody controls them. You never know if it's gonna be like high quality or not. They don't have any processes like how they do it, or they don't. Usually people on Fiverr, they don't have any proofreader. They're like a one-man band. So, whatever they translate, they just send it to you. So you cannot, be sure that, it's going to be that good while you're using like a professional service who has like processes, proofreaders and stuff like that, all in one place.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this has been a great conversation. I think we're getting towards the end. What are some, it's 2020, people are, finishing hopefully they had a great fourth quarter as their business. Hopefully they had some fun holidays, and, now they're going to the gym, they're doing their New Year's resolution. Is there some New Year's resolution ideas we could do for going international? I mean, what's some steps people could take if they're not doing it, maybe for US only right now?
Well, I think that people should consider Europe. I think people should go there and check the competitors on, let's say, UK or German market. Check your competitors, because I don't think 80% of the people have done that. And I think the people could be surprised about the number of competitors they have on some other market that is going to be less than in the States, and might consider doing international shipping and just going over the seas to get some more increase in profit and sales. Because if your competitor is doing an amazing job in the US, maybe you can just do as equally as impressive in Germany or UK or Japanese market, but you never actually, sat down and took like 30 minutes to just go try to find your competitors overseas, and you might just be surprised in that you don't maybe even have any, or that you maybe have only a few, and that those over there, they're doing much worse than you are. So you can just totally get ahead of your competitors. This is what I would suggest to people. Just sit on go to Amazon.de or UK and just try to find your product and see how well the competitors are performing. And maybe that's just going to be something which can make your 2020 even better.
Okay. This is awesome. Yeah, I think that's a great actionable point for the new year. And hopefully if they had, some investments they can do for the new year.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
We chatted a little bit at the beginning, but maybe you can share again what you could do to help people if they were interested and enjoy what we talked about today. What would be some things that they could do to find you and
right. So definitely we offer we do 700 to 800 listings every month. And we've grown pretty big the last a year and a half, and we really offer highest quality of listings. So we do the listing translations to all European markets. So if you want to do one ASIN to 4 or 5 countries, we get it all covered. Our turnaround time is about 4 to 5 days, depending on how busy we are. So we do the listings with keyword research. We do Helium 10. All the translators are natives doing the keyword research, and we also provide back-end search terms. Also, what I mentioned before, we also offer customer service. So if you're a seller and you have a lot of questions and you don't know how to handle them, or you don't have time for freelancers, we offer all of that. And basically, I think Amazon charges about $600 per language, and we charge 600 euros for 4 languages. So It's a really good deal. And I think a lot of people would find it very, very useful. And you don't have to cash out with so much money, because it's literally 150 euros per language per market. And I would like to offer, because it's January and I think everybody deserves a really good fresh start, we can offer 30% on the customer service subscription plan. So 30% on the 600 euros for 4 languages for European markets, for anyone that wants to use us. Awesome. We also do all sorts of other translations like ads, follow-up emails. Basically, we cover everything which is written in English and you want it done in any other language. So all aspects of Amazon Marketplace. And we also do flat files, because people always complain about, how do I know what to copy paste? And we just create flat files so you can just easily upload them to your account, and you just save yourself so much time and tears.
Yeah, it is true. It's just it's also more scalable. We've had Dan Fernandez, he also shared at the Cross Border Summit and on the show, and it's also a good tip, I think, to have a flat file. It's more scalable.
Definitely. I mean, you can upload so many products at the same time, and you really just click and upload, and that's it. And you really don't have to even know what is the first bullet, what is the second bullet. It's all taken care for you.
Yep. Okay, it's been a pleasure. And then what's the website, or how can people find you?
Right. So our website is YLT-translations.com, and you can contact us on info@YLT-translations.com. And if any of you have any of the already translated listings, and you're maybe wondering, why is this listing underperforming? Or, is there something I can improve about my listing? You're more than welcome to send us all of your listings, and we can give you a feedback about if the listings are good enough, if they're optimized, if the language is fine, or is there anything else you could do to make your listing even better.
Awesome. All right. It's been great to have you on. It's also been great to get to know you the past couple of months, and I look forward to more things we do together. And thanks for sharing with our listeners today.
Thank you so much for inviting me today. It was an absolute pleasure meeting you in China. So you were, one of the top people I met in 2019, and that's why I love all of these conferences and travel and all the community, because you never know who are you gonna, discover next, as like a new person, new contact, and I'm really happy for the whole journey last year, and I'm looking forward to the new one this year.
Yeah, let's make the most of it. Thanks. I really feel
Yes.
happy to hear that. And me too. It's been great to know you.
Thank you so much.
As mentioned in the intro, we have the Cross Border Summit 2020 5th annual at Chiang Mai, Thailand. This time November 19th and 20th, 2020. It's going to be a formula that people seem to like. We're going to have a pre-event for the VIPs and a mastermind on the 18th, and then 19th and 20th will be 2 full days of speakers and networking and amazing time together to connect with others in our amazing community. If you are interested to learn more, www.crossbordersummit.com/Thailand. Thank you so much, Yana. Her and I met each other and first time at the summit, and we hung out at some of the other happenings happening at the south of China in these trade show seasons. I hope everybody enjoyed that episode. It's a fun one. We have so many amazing shows coming up. I mean, people want to be on the show, and I want to get some amazing people for you to listen to. So we got a good deal. People want to come on the show. I want people on the show. If this show is helpful to you, seems like the best way is sharing with a friend, word of mouth, I think. Honestly, I don't even know how to market podcasts. Never did. Get myself in trouble. People sometimes can't even find it. Actually, we have a Spanish language one. We also have a video one. Pat Flynn at Smart Passive Income, of course, everybody knows him, got me all into video podcasts back in like 2015, and I did like 3 and maybe more, 4. But audio podcasts is where we're at. But definitely tell a friend. We put amazing video, amazing content out there and try to help people totally for free. Can you believe it? Wish I had this when I was a kid. Also, another little fun one, alive4.com. It's like a free tool I put together with our team over the holidays, and it calculates how long you've been alive to the second and how long you have to live. Of course, you have to make an assumption how long you'll live. I put 80 years old. I don't know, how old do you think you will live to? I mean, I know it's really sad and scary, but I've learned that, I think it's Tim Ferriss and some other smart people, have this stoic mindset where you accept who you are, accept where you are going to be, accept life and accept death. I think that's changed my life, changed the way I think, like, man, every single second it's passing. I'm looking at this counter as I record on this audio recording software. A second gone by. A second just went by. A second just went by. A second just went by. Anyway, I'll try to get the blah, blah, blah sessions going again, but honestly, maybe I'll stick this one in for a few minutes, talk about my UK and German experience before Amazon. This is like Andrew, my business partner on the New York Bar Store website. We basically had no idea what we were doing and just found a fulfillment center in the UK and started selling stuff on eBay in the UK. And I don't know if I said it in the interview or not, but I got destroyed, seriously, because we had an integration issue of the shopping cart. It was .co.uk, and we had .eu, and some European characters are crazy with like the squirrel, a circle, small circle on top of the U or something, I think a Swedish name. And the warehouse software didn't connect, and we were, automate your business, automate your e-commerce. And man, that crushed us because that system just blocked. It was like it just held up every order after it. So we had I think it started in December 12th, 14th, 15th in 2010, and it was just piling up orders and none of them were shipping, and nobody noticed because I was automating everything, and we're doing the US, the UK, Europe. But And the technology company's like, oops, sorry, but it's, it's your risk. It's your risk. It's not our problem. We'll fix that bug. And meanwhile, you're getting like rained on angry customers like 2 or 3 days before Christmas when we figured out. I mean, we spent money like crazy sending it, but we got negative feedback bombed or pissed off people. But I think that's part of the game, going in the game, being a gladiator. Actually, I'm still getting great feedback on Amazon for our ecommercegladiator.com, our book that we wrote. I sent another copy out to some people. We are trying to mail out some. Maybe I'll put a way to actually have people buy the print version. I'm taking some to the Philippines. But, it's a gladiator, man. Going to all these markets like Yana's talking about, each market is maybe it's easier with Amazon now. But still, you got taxes, you got languages, you got, probably have somebody dedicated to make sure the orders are going through, make sure the inventory is going well. It's a really a lot. So I hope that this is helpful to you, these shows. But just take action, man. Just do it, and have systems in place, fallbacks, daily checkups on orders, customer service, and but don't just listen. Do. I'd love to hopefully have some of you on this show. I've had some listeners on the show in the past, so maybe it could be you. But you'll only get there if you take action. Even if you're making a mistake, you gotta learn from it and improve. But it's way better than not taking action. So please, do it. All right, back to Shenyang Life Cold. See you next week. I'll be in Manila soon, but still be here next week.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.